Back to one of our big stories of the day now, the trial of former Dallas Cowboy Josh Brent. We want to share some of the viewer reaction that we've had so far. A lot of people watching this one really closely. Wendy Broyles wrote in and said he needs prison time and a lot of it. Debbie Rawlings Masters wrote in today and told us, don't be casting stones. You know that most of you have driven while intoxicated. Thank God you were lucky enough to make it home, she says. Randy Johnson, though, doesn't feel that way. He says a grown man should have known better. What a role model he is. Dallas defense attorney Pete Schulte, who was also a police officer in a previous life, is here to give us some analysis of this. Now, you've been watching this trial pretty closely here. Seems like this one just whizzed by, but you say that this is pretty normal, what we've seen so far.
Yeah, so the prosecution to get a conviction in this case has to prove two things. One is that Mr. Brent was intoxicated at the time of driving, and that the intoxication caused the death of Jerry Brown, Jr.
So you underscore at the time of driving because I think a lot of people really got caught up on this expert testimony for the prosecution the other day when the expert said he would have had to have 17 drinks to get to the level of blood alcohol that he had. How does the defense counter that?
Well, let's talk about that. So first of all, the chemist was talking about 17 drinks. Now, that's standard drinks. That doesn't take into account liquor that might have a higher alcohol concentration. So what the defense really focused on over the last 2 days was what was Josh Brent doing right before he got behind the wheel. If he took a big swig of alcohol, and it was very potent alcohol, it's going to take at least an hour, if not longer, for that alcohol to absorb into his system. So there's a chance that he could have been under the legal limit at the time of the accident. Now, we don't know that. The only people that are going to make that decision are going to be the 12 people sitting in that jury box. It's a fact issue.
Let's talk a little bit about the jury here because the defense presentation here was lightning quick on this. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? And what kind of job do you think that they did in this case? You say that there is a little bit of a concern of agitating a jury in a case like this.
Yeah, I mean, what you do in these type of cases is you have to look at the evidence. As a defense attorney that has handled these type of cases before, I would bring a client in and I'd say, look, you're probation eligible. All right, do we want to tick off the jury by spending a whole bunch of time challenging the guilt-innocence part of the trial? Because in Texas, our trials are divided between guilt-innocence is phase one, then punishment is phase two if there's a conviction. So in some cases, you would go in and say, you know what, I'm guilty, and then go to the jury and say, I need mercy. I need probation. But in this particular case, I really think the defense, and I think rightfully so, that there was an option in this particular case to maybe get an acquittal. So in this particular case, the jury has three choices. One, convict Josh Brent of intoxication manslaughter. Two, if they don't believe that the intoxication caused the death of Jerry Brown, but Brent was intoxicated, the only lesser included offense is DWI. Or three, he gets acquitted. So that's what the jury's going to be analyzing, and I think it's going to be it's tough in these cases because the state has the burden of proof. They have to prove these elements beyond a reasonable doubt, and that's beyond clear and convincing evidence. So even if this jury is clearly convinced, but not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt, it's an acquittal. So that's how difficult these cases are to prosecute.
All right, Pete Schulte giving us some expert analysis this afternoon, and of course we'll keep you on retainer for when this all starts up again when we get to that point.